Hey, how's it going there, guys? So we wanted to show you a little bit more about the nutrients. So this is the same nutrients as you guys are going to be getting in your system. We wanted to go over a couple things. So the first, some people have been asking, what's the difference between a hydroponic nutrients and a fertilizer that you would pick up at the store? Why can't I just use a fertilizer? The second thing we want to go over is just kind of why we went to a three-part and what kind of power that gives you in terms of your garden. Why it's so important to have that ability to kind of change up your nutrients while you're growing. So the first thing, when it comes to a hydroponic nutrients, one of the things that separates it from, say, a fertilizer is everything is water soluble. That's what it focuses on. If you pick up a nutrient, say a soil-based fertilizer, and you were to put it in a hydroponic garden, it wouldn't necessarily mix with the water, stay in its concentration. You tend to get salt buildup, and you probably would start to get areas that have higher concentration than others, and that can give you a lot of problems with your hydroponic garden. The next one is when a soil-based fertilizer is created, they assume that you're going to have certain trace nutrients in the soil, things such as zinc, iron, copper, and so they don't add them in even concentrations throughout your nutrients. They'll focus more on your main NPK. Nutrients like hydroponics, they start from the ground up and they build all of those micronutrients in, so you know you have all of the trace nutrients supplied and you don't have to worry about missing things that can be really critical to your plant health. So we want to start off just kind of giving you an introduction to nutrients. Then that can kind of give you an idea on how the three-part nutrients works together to create the perfect plant. So there's two main types of nutrients. They're called micro and macro. So macro is big. That's what the main nutrients that your plant is going to be using. Micro are still super important, but they're small amounts. They're sometimes called trace nutrients or trace elements in your system. In your nutrients. So with the macro, the main three building blocks, these are the ones that you're going to see when you look at a fertilizer, is nitrogen, phosphates, phosphorus, and potassium, NPK. And these are the main three building blocks. So nitrogen, or nitrates, that is to do with your stem growth and your green, your leaves. That's what makes your plant really grow. Moves into the phosphorus, phosphates. It's your flowering and your fruiting. You think phosphate flowering, phosphate fruiting. Then you move into potassium. And potassium, that deals with your root health and a little bit with the seed production, but mainly with your root growth, root health. So when you're moving into hydroponics and how you want to grow, balance out all of your different nutrients, usually you're going to start off mainly focused on building a strong foundation, good roots, ones that can uptake a lot of nutrients, a lot of water, so you can have a strong plant. So you're going to start off with a nutrients that focuses on your potassium, and with a bit of nitrogen to start growing a bit. Then it's going to start to move a little bit more into more nitrogen. You want to get your plant growing. You want lots of leaves. You want a lot of ability to make those sugars so that you can have a nice, great fruit-bearing plant. Once you get to the desired height, which is essentially what you're going to be waiting for, you switch things. Now you move into changing your lights, usually to 12 on, 12 off. This simulates similar to your fall time, and that tells the plant it has to start making fruits, start making seeds, so they can survive for the next season. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to trick it into doing that. Then we start to introduce our phosphates, our phosphorus. And Bloom formula is more around that. That starts to take away from the growing of your plant and start to focus on the fruit. So all the nutrients goes into the fruit. You get big fruits because you don't want your plant to just keep growing. Then a lot of the energy the plant's using is wasted and it's not being put into your fruit. And that is the main reason you use a three-part system. And that's kind of why we wanted to change with one, because a lot of people want to be able to grow fruits. You still can with a single part. But when you use a three-part, you can really just isolate right down to, we want strong roots and lots of growth. And the next one, we want great fruiting, we want to stop that growth, but we still want to have a strong plant to get to there. So that's what that essentially lets us doing. And you don't need to know all the types of nutrients. You don't need to know all the types of macros and micros and what they do. If you do want to know, we actually have a report that goes through all of them for you. But that's what the people who make these types of things spend years developing. you just mix the concentration. So in the case of a 5-gallon jug, if you needed 2 milliliters per liter, you take your handy dandy syringe, suck it up to the 40 mark, push it in, add the other ones, stir it, add, and you're done. That's really all you need to know. But we just want you to kind of get a better idea on what's happening in that nutrient so that you can really be confident that what you're doing, how it works, and knowing that you're going to have a great crop. So thanks there, guys.